Mal should not talk about politics on his podcast. And no, it's not because he is a supporter of Donald Trump.
So fuck them niggas that's always in the comments. You don't know the agenda you're put. Shut the fuck up and eat my dick.
Wow. You stretched the hell out of it. Good job. That's just silly. Next.
Who gives a fuck what you talking about, man? We vote for Trump. Fuck Biden.
Shut the fuck up. You thought you ate that?
If I'm being honest with you, I don't like either side when it comes to Democrat or Republican, because I think they're both trash, and I don't think that they really have the best interest of the American people. I'm not on a political side or waving a blue flag like Mal would say just because I don't support his favorite white man with an orange wig. How disrespectful to Rory. Or how he constantly comes for Julian, throwing unnecessary shots, having a close friendship with Big Bill and the Clintons.
He consistently benefited by being underestimated. He used to call me twice a year just to talk.
Making Julian feel bad about it, as if it's a problem for Mal, which makes it more apparent that it's more than just Mal supporting Donald Trump as a person, but more supporting his politics in silence, whether he wants to admit it or not.
Politics as usual.
I'm only here to give advice for the section of fans that rock with Mal and the podcast, but who don't rock with his political stances or at least the way he approaches it. It's okay to support Donald Trump politically. You ain't gotta lie, Craig.
Go to the show last night.
The way Mal comes about his support for Ronald McDonald, you would think he is conflicted with his politics. So let's go over why I feel Mal needs to stop talking about politics on his podcast. He confuses the fans and audience. Since the old JBP days when it was at its prime with Rocco Roars and OVO Mal, Mal has always made it clear that he never voted for Trump and he never fully supported his politics.
Mal's man 45 is 45 and that's
man.
not my man.
That's not my. Why you keep saying my man? It's my man. You think
I'm
that's my
saying
man?
I hope it's not your man.
How? Why would you? This ain't my man. Far from it.
A few moments later.
Listen, I'm on record. 2019. You know. Listen, man. I paved the way for the homies to do this. You know, it was me. I mean, he's done some things for the black community. My man, because he's done things for the black community.
Anytime Rory or Julian will have a reason for people to be against Trump, he automatically puts his hands up like he's defeated and he needs a latte with extra whipped cream. The way he gets upset with any type of criticism from Donald Trump makes it clear that he supports him way more than just a businessman.
Handle my business, damn.
Unfair to co-host. It's clear anytime politics are involved on the podcast, even if Donald Trump is not involved with the topic, you know, OVO Mal is going to find a way to slide Ronald McDonald into the conversation. And it's like, what are we doing? He's ready to praise Donnie at the expense of making his co-host feel uncomfortable. And no, I'm not talking R. Kelly uncomfortable. I'm just saying uncomfortable, you know, in the way that it creates an awkward tension in the room. Because mostly everyone on the show do not agree with Mal, and some of them would potentially say Donald Trump is not as bad as people make him out to be. Now, Julian can also be pretty biased with his own political stances. I won't lie. I have to give him credit because at least he's very respectful towards others' differences of opinions when it comes to politics, especially Mal. Very clear that Julian tries to keep that respect level at a very solid standing.
If there's something you could say and I could bleep it, can you make that happen?
No, it's not a matter of bleeping or not. It's a matter of respecting the relationship here between us and them.
Fair. And
Not just because Mal pays him to be on the show and make his show amazing, because Julian actually respects Mal as a person and friend. I don't know if Mal has that same respect for Julian. Anytime he starts to speak in his political bag, it should never get this deep when somebody has a different opinion from yours. And if you claim you don't support Donald's political views fully, why get mad? It doesn't make any sense. It leaves a stain on good episodes. The irony with Mal talking about politics on his show is that it's not really a big part of the episodes, about maybe 15, 20 minutes that take up the podcast episodes in general. But even with these 15, 20 minutes of politics being discussed on the podcast, it ruins the other 1 hour to hour and a half of the episode that was really good. For example, with episode 285, it's a prime example of the episode being a great listen overall, with the title of the episode not even being about politics. But you know, Mal has to get in his feelings just like Aubrey.
Gotta be real with it.
Question why people don't support Trump or give him sympathy for an attempted assassination.
So I did come on here and say that they would attempt to shoot and kill Donald Trump, and Rory kind of like brushed it off. And I said, but the thing about it is, if they do kill Donald Trump, which I hope and pray it doesn't happen, but if they do, I don't think people would care. I truly don't think that people would care. And after this happened, I think my feelings are more solidified and more that people would not care. Why would Donald Trump stage to get shot?
Okay, was in total panic mode. Voice in my head just said, just keep going. Just drive away. Of course I wouldn't.
You're acting as if it's impossible to think that people shouldn't have any reason to not like Donald Trump or to not support him or be there for a time of need when he hasn't been there for the American people. He just likes to talk a lot of BS. I can definitely see a person like Julian not wanting to have lunch or dinner with Donald Trump.
I'm telling you,
I still have a moral code. I don't fuck with Trump. It's
you
a
don't
personal
know
decision.
him. You don't know him.
And people always want to ask me why I said it. He lied. Y'all niggas worship him. Never.
I'm not tied to a political party. I have my own political views and I take from what I want. So it would make more sense for somebody like me to say, yeah, I would want to meet with Donald Trump, even if I don't like him politically. But for someone like Julian Mal, you know Julian is affiliated with not just the Democratic Party because of his brother, the relationship he has with the Clintons. He would not want to hang out with Donald Trump. It is okay for people to say something and it be the actual truth, even if you don't believe it. How do you get so upset when people don't want to hear you out about Donald Trump fully, when you don't fully understand or acknowledge all of the policies that he's in favor of? Not just the good policies that make him look good to the general public, but the policies that also make him look pretty bad, because there are some of those out there. Let's just take a look.
We're going to build a wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall.
Mexico has not ended up paying for the wall. Instead, the Trump administration has obtained more than $15 billion in federal funds for the wall.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
2020, the Trump administration added 6 more countries from Africa and Asia to the list, raising the total number of countries on the restricted travel list.
The Trump administration, in just 3 budgets, public spending has skyrocketed, not counting coronavirus rescue packages, by around 20%. This represents an annual increase of more than 6%. In other words, public spending under Trump has grown 3 times more than the national economy.
In my opinion, you like to highlight the policies that make him look good. And of course, everybody has a yin and a yang. There's a good and there's a bad. I understand that there's that part, but are you ready to have that conversation about the negative policies and all the negative that's been around Donald Trump's presidency? But again, like Rory told me after I made my first video going over their podcast, telling me it's all about being respectful with my takes, I completely agree. I'm going to leave it with this. I'm not here to ruin my favorite podcast. Genuinely love the new Rory and Mal podcast. And I'm just trying to give actual genuine advice that could help the podcast go back up in numbers on the YouTube page like they should and that they deserve, because they do overall have amazing podcasts, despite the small issues with the political takes and being heavy on OVO, mainly Mal. Because hate it or love it,
the underdogs on top, and I'm gonna shine, homie, until my heart stops.
And I ain't going nowhere.
So you can get to know me.
Bye.